Welcome to AI ConvoCast, where we bring you the latest in AI and tech innovation. Quick housekeeping. Check out the affiliate links in our description. Using them supports the show, and please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Let's jump right in.
Today we will be covering Nvidia's new Blackwell B300X accelerator with a major inference performance jump, Anthropic's Claude Opus 4.7 and its new secure reasoning mode built for regulated industries, OpenAI's launch of GPT 5.5 with native tool use memory and persistent agents, and Google rolling out Gemini 3.2 Pro with real-time video reasoning inside Workspace. Let's kick things off with Nvidia. On February 13th, the company announced the Blackwell B300X accelerator, which is an upgrade to the existing B300 chip. Nvidia is claiming a 45% improvement in reasoning throughput compared to the B300, and this chip is specifically designed for inference-heavy workloads, meaning the kind of processing that happens when AI models are actively generating responses rather than being trained. What makes the B300X stand out on paper is its 288 gigabytes of HBM4E memory. For context, that is a massive amount of high-bandwidth memory. And it matters because as AI models start working with context windows that stretch into the millions of tokens, you need hardware that can hold all of that information close to the processor without bottlenecking. Jensen Huang, Nvidia's CEO, said during the announcement, "Inference is the new frontier, and Blackwell B300X is built for it." The chip is optimized for lower precision formats like FP4 and FP6, which are techniques that let models run faster and more efficiently during inference without a meaningful loss in quality. Early adopters include Oracle Cloud and CoreWeave, with sampling already going out to partners and general availability expected in the second quarter of 2026. It is also compatible with Nvidia's freshly released CUDA 13.2. Semiconductor analysts were quick to point out that the memory bump alone is a big deal for long context agents, and developers noted that this kind of hardware lines up perfectly with the 2 million token class models that have been dropping this month. The very next day, Anthropic made its own move. On February 14th, the company launched Claude Opus 4.7, and the headline feature is something called Secure Reasoning Mode. This is aimed squarely at industries like finance, healthcare, and defense, where there are strict rules around how decisions get made and documented. What Secure Reasoning Mode does is log the intermediate reasoning steps the model takes during a query and store them in encrypted audit trails. Only compliance administrators can access those logs. So if a bank is using Claude to assist with financial modeling or a hospital system is reviewing medical documents, there is now a built-in paper trail showing exactly how the model arrived at its output. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei put it simply: enterprises need reasoning they can inspect and govern. The model comes with a 1.5 million token context window, and Anthropic released alignment documentation for both FINRA and HIPAA on the same day, which are regulatory frameworks in finance and healthcare respectively. One thing to note is that turning on Secure Reasoning Mode does reduce throughput by about 8%, so there is a small performance trade-off for that added layer of transparency. On benchmarks, Opus 4.7 showed a 6% improvement on the MMLU Pro Finance subset compared to the previous Opus 4.6. Pricing stays the same as the prior version, and the model is already available through Anthropic's API and on AWS Bedrock. Forbes editor Alex Conrad commented that audit trails for chain-of-thought reasoning could be a big deal in banking, and enterprise IT leaders have been praising the clearer compliance documentation that came with this release. Moving to February 15th, OpenAI came out swinging with GPT 5.5 alongside a major upgrade to its Responses API. The big story here is what OpenAI is calling native tool memory. This allows AI agents to retain structured knowledge across sessions without needing an external vector database. In simpler terms, if you set up an AI agent to handle a multi-step workflow, it can now remember what it learned and what tools it used from one session to the next, all stored in encrypted state containers. OpenAI CTO Mira Murati framed the shift by saying the goal is to move from prompt engineering to system engineering, emphasizing that this model is built for orchestration rather than one-off prompts. She also said, GPT 5.5 is designed for agents that remember and act, not just respond. The model keeps the same 2 million token context window as GPT 5.4 Turbo, but improves retrieval latency. On the SWE Bench Verified benchmark, which tests coding ability, GPT 5.5 scored 74.2% compared to 68% for GPT 5.4 Turbo. Pricing comes in at $6 per million input tokens and $18 per million output tokens on the API. Early enterprise partners piloting the model include Intuit and Snowflake, both testing internal workflow agents. The model is available immediately for enterprise and API customers, with the ChatGPT rollout starting February 18th. Developer reactions on GitHub were largely positive, with people praising reduced hallucinations in tool calling flows, though some flagged the higher output token costs as a consideration. iEngineer SWYX noted on social media that this feels like the first OpenAI model built primarily for agents rather than humans. Then just a few hours later on that same day, Google announced Gemini 3.2 Pro with a feature called Gemini Live Vision, which brings real-time video reasoning directly into Google Workspace. During a Google Meet call, users can now share a live camera feed, and the model will provide contextual summaries or suggest actions based on what it sees. It also integrates with Google Docs for real-time whiteboard transcription, so if someone is sketching out ideas on a physical whiteboard during a meeting, Gemini can capture and convert that into a document on the fly. Sundar Pichai said, Gemini can now see what you see during a meeting. The system processes up to 60 video frames per second in short bursts, and Google claims a 30% improvement in multimodal inference speed compared to Gemini 3 Pro. The feature is available to Google AI Ultra and Enterprise tier subscribers at no additional cost, and Google updated its SOC 2 Type 2 compliance documentation alongside the rollout. Tech journalist Peter Kafka tested the Meet integration and called it surprisingly fluid, with less lag than expected. Users have been particularly positive about the whiteboard capture functionality, though some have raised privacy concerns about continuous video inference during meetings, which is a fair point that will likely get more attention as adoption grows. TechCrunch confirmed the deployment and noted the competitive overlap with Microsoft Copilot's own multimodal capabilities, setting up what should be a fascinating productivity AI race throughout 2026.
Thank you for listening to AI Convo Cast. Please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Thanks and hope to see you again next time.